Hello and welcome, friends and family and super supporters. Welcome to Passionately Intrigued Arts with Tracy. This recording is going to be part two of the motorcycle helmet restoration. So I've got it all sanded down if you follow and saw part one. And what I need to do now is tape it off on the interior so no paint gets on the inside. And then I will be trying to tape off the fiberglass DOT sticker on the back, as well as the vent on the front. Then I need to see what I can do to cover the rivets and snaps so that I don't paint those. If they get painted, then I just have to sand it off, but I'm going to see if I can cover them first to save a little time in the next steps that I will be doing. So hold on, give me a moment. I'm going to adjust the camera and get started. I'm going to do is clean off these parts with some alcohol to make sure I have all that sanding dust off of what I need to tape down. So I'll be taping down the vent. I definitely don't want paint to get on this. And then I'm going to try my best to not cover this fiberglass DOT sticker. And then we'll see about these. If I get paint on these studs, I will be able to use alcohol or acetone to get the paint off. They are filthy too. Now I cleaned this several times, the whole helmet with the vinegar water, but I think I'm going to go over it with this alcohol because my next step after taping these off will be to spray the primer. So let me, and I'll have to do it again, but let me get most of this clean now. Look how dirty that, and I cleaned it several times with that vinegar water. Wow, alcohol does the job. Okay, so I think I'll do this vent first. And I'm just going to take some painter's tape. This isn't very thick. I'm going to have to double it up. Use 2 strips. Oh, now it wants to stick together. Okay. Let's start over. I know you can't see what I'm doing. So I put this piece on, and I'm just going to use my fingernail to go around the edge of it so I know where to cut with my blade. And then I'm going to put another strip right here. Make sure I burnish it down really, really good, because I don't want anything to seep up under here. And then I'll go along the edge with my fingernail. Now I'll take this blade and trim this excess painter's tape off very slowly and very carefully. So let's see. Let's see, did I cut it right? Let me take a close look. For the most part, I did, but I see a little black along the edge right here. So I'm going to put another piece of tape and then down here as well. So I'm going to cover it again right here. Let's see if I can trim this tape right. And then also, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me put it up close. There's a little, I cut too close. I can see the black right here of the vent. So I'm gonna put another piece there. And you do this to prevent extra work at the end. So you just kind of want to do it right so that you don't have extra details to do when you've completed the whole process. All right, let me go a little slower and see that I can get this right. So I'm gonna peel this back and see before I trim anymore. Okay, that's better. I got that covered properly. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. And that way I can make sure, hopefully, that I cut this tape right. Okay, let me go for the long haul right here. Much better. Much better. All right, so now I'm just going to use my fingernail again and get that tape off my hand and press in. Okay, got that covered good. Now let me work on this DOT sticker. Now it's not raised and it's not sticking up, so I'm gonna lay the tape down. How am I gonna do this? I need something tall. Okay. Yeah, how am I going to see that? I think what I'm going to do is cut out a piece of plastic, something clear that I can trace this and then cut it out. That way I know that my dimensions are correct, because I put this on here, it covers it up, and I can't see where I'm cutting at. So let me do that. Let me find some clear plastic, measure this, put it over here, take a pen or marker and trace it, and then cut that out. Then I can go from there. So I took some two-sided tape and I put a piece up here at the top, and then this is the second piece. I also took some press and seal. I traced this first and then cut this piece out. So the press and seal sticks, but it's not going to, when I spray paint, it's not going to be held down properly. So that's why I'm using this two-sided tape. We'll take this piece off. And then I want to line this press and seal up correctly so I can lay it down on this DOT embedded sticker. Okay. Now I'll just have to trim around the press and seal because it's a little edge right here. Then this way I can peel this off after I put the primer on. Well, I'm gonna leave it on after I put the primer on, and then all the coats of paint. Hopefully this will work. So this is a tedious and time-consuming project, but it's enjoyable. I'm going to love to see the results of what I have intended for this helmet. Okay. So it's covered. It will not get painted. Now I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for these rivets and snaps. And I'll come back and let you know. I don't know yet. Let me think a little bit. I don't remember where I was, but I got this taped off and trimmed up, and then I wrapped these snaps with some tape. And then what I did for these is used an Elmer's glue, because that'll peel right off, just to cover these so that they're not painted. And if they get painted, I should be able to clean that off. So my next step is to take care of this inside, mask it so that no paint gets inside of this. And I'll take some alcohol and spray along the inside of here, just so I can clean it off, so that hopefully I'm going to use a two-sided tape and put some plastic in here. Get that cleaned off so there's nothing that will stop the tape from holding on. Okay, so I have this 1/4-inch two-sided tape, and I'm going to start with this. And I'm going to just line it up along the edge here and tack it down all the way around. I think I'm going to do a section at a time. So that I can fit that in there and then rub it down so that it sticks well. So I'll continue to put this tape all the way around. Then I'll come back and I'm going to use plastic. Got a strip of plastic, and I'll just be attaching it. I'll take the cover sheet off here and just attach it on the inside here like this, all the way around. So rather than bore you with all that work, I'll do that and come back. All right, got the plastic on, taped it all the way around, and I'm just going to tuck this in. And that's so that I don't really get anything on the these things, the chin straps. That's what they're called, pretty much. Because it doesn't really matter if you get anything on the inside because you're putting your insert in here, your styrofoam insert. But I want to protect these chin straps. So we're ready. After I clean this one more time because my hands have been all over it with alcohol to start with the primer. And I'm going to use Velspar, and it's a paint primer, and it's actually satin. Didn't have a flat. And I'll be applying the first coat in the thin layer and letting it dry, and then probably we'll see how much it takes to cover this. It's probably going to be 3 or 4 coats of the white. I'll just spray it off one more time with the alcohol. And then I think from here out, I'm going to have my gloves on. Yeah. Get a good wipe down, and let's get ready for the first coats of paint. And I'm just using that white as a base color, to set off whatever color I decide to put on top, which I have an idea of what I'm going to do. I'm working this as I go. I'm figuring it out as I go. Like I said, I've only done one before. This is a challenge, but it's a fun challenge, so we're going to see. Go get the paint station ready. Okay, y'all, let's get it. I'm in the basement in my makeshift paint booth. Protection here. Don't judge me. Gotta do what you gotta do. So I placed this helmet on. I got a hat stand that I use to display my hats. And what I've done is covered that with plastic so that it doesn't mess up. But I needed something up high, and I couldn't find anything that I wanted to do. So anywho, we're gonna get started with the first coat on. Let that dry or get tacky like, and then I can start with my second coat. And we'll see how many coats it needs. I know probably 3 or 4. And you come back at least 8 inches, 8 to 12 inches, and you just go back and forth. Let me pick this up some more. So the first coat is going to be a light coat. You don't want it to drip, so you don't want to get too close, or you want to go back and forth. And stay your distance, because if you get too close, it'll put out too much paint and it will drip. You don't want drips because you'll have to sand those later. Just get that light coat on and keep it moving. And since I did it so very lightly, I'm just going to go around lightly one more time before I let this dry. Back and forth. Shake your paint throughout so that you don't get drips. Paint will drip on you. And I'm talking about droplets. You don't want droplets and you don't want drips. So that's extra work. Sanding is basically starting all over again. You're going to sand that down and start that paint job again. So that's all I'm going to do for right now. For the moment, we're going to let that dry. And I'll put the next 2 or 3, however many coats it takes, and come back and show you once that is dry. Wherever you're painting, using aerosols, make sure that you have a well-ventilated area. I've got the basement window open, and I've got a fan sitting over here this way, pulling the air, the fumes away from me. Just thought I'd mention that. Also, I keep a supply of face masks down here, and you want to put that on when you're in your home spray painting. I wanted to do this outside, but the daylight is gone, so I'm down here. And then your clothing, something old. Put on your gear, your old stuff, so you don't mess anything up. Okay? 3 coats on here already, so I'm assuming and hoping that this 4th coat will be the last coat for even coverage. It's very faint, but I see the design underneath. Let me do this. It's important to keep moving Keep your can moving. Don't let it sit in one spot. Back and forth. 8 to 12 inches away. And that should do it for this first coat. The helmet is not going to be white. This is just my base coat. Let that dry, and I'm trying to decide. I've got some striping, but I got to find it. I've got some pinstripe. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Or just put the images on that she wants. We're going to see.
2,000 years later.
Hello, hey, good day. How are you? It's been 2 long days since I have been in this paint booth. You know, that saying, life be lifing. That's a real thing. So I'm putting my garb on and getting ready to do the second color coating. I left off where I had the satin, was it satin primer, white, and I ended up putting, I believe it was at least 4 coats. Might have been 5. I don't remember. It was 4 or 5 coats of the primer to cover what was on that helmet. So now I'm going to be using black. And y'all, I left my doggone, so I got my fan on, I'm putting my garb on, getting ready to put this mask on. I left my doggone basement window open for 2 days. And you know, it's cold here. I am heating outside. What is wrong with me? Anywho, I'm about to use this Krylon Fusion 5-time glares here, stronger adhesion, no peel. This is a matte black. So I'm going to start with this to cover up this white. I use the white as a base and the primer. And then if I run out of this, because it doesn't sound like it's much in here, I don't know, I might get 2 or 3 coats, not sure. I do have Rust-Oleum Universal Satin black. So let me take the camera down and get started with this painting. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here if you've been here for part 1, for the introduction for part 1, and this is now part 2. Stay with me. I don't know how many parts there are going to be. I'm going to try and get it done, but like I said, life be life, and I have other things to do, so I can't do it all. It has to dry, and yada, 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 and there's just different steps to it. So I'm going to get started here and quit running my mouth. And test your paints, turn it upside down, and just spray it on something to make sure that your nozzle is clear. And then when you finish with your paints, when you finish painting, doing what you're doing with it, turn it upside down and clear that nozzle out so that it doesn't clog up. Just a little tip. Okay, now these glasses are fogging. I'm gonna have to take those off. I'll keep my mask on, but I take those off. Oh shoot, I didn't open the window. Hold on, y'all. Kept it open the other day for 2 doggone days. Now I forget to open it. Hold on, let me open this window. Because you need to have ventilation when using spray paint. All right, let's get it started. Stay away 8 to 12 inches and just the back and forth action. You don't want to stay in the spot too long. Oh, that's going too fast. I've got this on a Lazy Susie so that I can turn it around. That I use all the time down here in this, you know, paint room, paint station, in provision. But it works for me. It works for me. I just used the tablecloths from the Dollar Tree and lined the walls. This is an old sheet, and it's right at my window. And I've got this pool, kiddie pool, put all my objects in here to paint, and it works fine. An economical baby. This black gives good coverage. I may have just enough of this Fusion, Krylon Fusion. Okay, let me do the top. Don't stay in one area too long. Like I said before, you don't want any drips. drips, drops, splatters, and continually shake your pan up. That's pretty good coverage. And this is only one coat. Well, it says 5 times stronger. Interesting. It's fast drying, it also says. Maximum rust protection. No runs, no drips, no errors. Okay, come through, Krylon, come through. So, give it some time. Let this dry. And I'm only going to need a couple more coats of this black. Just to make sure it's completely covered. I will do at least 3 coats. I'm just getting this bottom edge now. I'm making sure that I'm up underneath these rivets and snaps so that I don't see any white under there. Okay, be back after this dries, or I will continue to spray paint after it dries and go on to the next step after I've applied 3 coats. At least 3 coats, I think. Okay. I've run out of paint, so I'm going to let that dry and then put one more coat on of this. I found another can of the Fusion, so I won't have to change because this is matte black and the other was satin, so I didn't want to change the texture. I want to keep it at matte, so I put another coat, a third coat on of the matte black, and that's full coverage. That's good enough. So I'm going to end this one, I believe, figure out what I'm doing next in designing this, and I'll be back with part 3. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Keep following me. We're going to get this done sooner or later. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you soon. Later.